Hello everyone, welcome to the pinkun.com Norwich City podcast. My name is Michael Bailey. I'm joined by Sports Desk Pete and Paddy Davitt. And this was supposed to be the point at which we talked about all that great building on the win at Spurs, how things were going to be different this time. Paddy, they were going to be different this time, weren't they?
Different. They conceded 4 this time.
Yeah. Oh no.
As opposed to previous defeats of recent nature.
Yeah, 4-1 at Aston Villa. It all looked so promising. And then, it was a sort of a first half capitulation and a second half non-event, and we're left in the same place as we were, Pad. What were you thinking on this Monday afternoon?
How do you... that is technically what happened, but how you actually process that in terms of how in control Norwich were, how agitated that home crowd were, ready to really mutiny, even to the point where any pass that was backwards instead of forwards was triggering waves of disapproval. We could hear it, I don't know if it was coming through on the TV, but just to go from that to wandering down the half-time tunnel 4-1 down, it just beggars belief. And you can pick whatever side of the fence you want, whether it was a brilliant goal from Benteke or whether it was poor defending, and the second of his surely was poor defending, and then obviously an own goal got done on a counter-attack. It was just a tale of woe. Very depressing, given performances had certainly improved and results were starting to turn. You felt after Tottenham, and they're back right where they were in the pit of despair and needing something from Stoke.
I mean, we'll come on to the first goal eventually, but just in terms of the turnaround, Norwich taking the lead after 3 minutes, but the first goal was just a world-class goal. It was something pretty special from Christian Benteke.
Yeah.
I suppose the issue really is the fact that from that moment Norwich seemed to defensively lose their heads. They conceded a second goal from just a corner, as good a header as it was, 2 minutes later, and then they just fall apart. There's just nothing there, is there? There's no fight.
It's white flag again, isn't it? They've done it so many times away from home, and the first 20 minutes you just thought, can't see Villa getting in this at all. And okay, I guess it's a bit of a cliche, it takes a wonder goal to get them back in it, but from that point onwards they just fell to pieces, and I don't really know how you explain it.
Is there an issue that Norwich's plan involves not conceding a goal? And as soon as that happens, it's like,
I think Norwich's plan, there is only one plan, that's the problem. Nothing changes when Villa were just sort of sweeping forth and we weren't doing anything to change it. And I think as soon as the second went in, it's like Norwich are never going to come back. I don't think they have away from home for a long time.
No, it's a frightening. I remember working out a few months and the amount of times Norwich have scored goals to come back from behind to win a point, or never mind 3. Yeah, you could probably count them on one hand. So it's not great. I remember thinking, I was telling you this, Pad, that I wanted to, when it was 3-1.
Cry.
Well, that as well. At 3-1. I was about to tweet or post on the live coverage. The one thing Norwich must make sure they don't do now is concede another one, and they'd already conceded another one before I got to actually type that out. Is that the sort of pattern from this, Paddy, that they just they can't seem to cope with conceding a goal?
That is it, and it's happened before with Villa recently under Lambert's watch, because I was thinking about it this morning that it was the Capital One down here where Norwich were in control of that game, and they just went bang, bang, bang. Benteke again, Vyman and Bonlahor, notable sidekicks, and it's just like they can't handle the power and the ferocity when these teams with players of that ilk who can go through the gears, have pace, directness, and can finish. There just doesn't seem to be any concept of how you stem the tide. I mean, Houghton was talking about even with a 2-1 we needed to be more resistant and dig in, but it's all very well saying that, but the evidence is that he has a group of players who are incapable of doing that, and he's incapable of equipping them with some sort of, as Pete alluded to there, some sort of template that can resist. It's just happening too often to be written off as well. That was brilliance from another, because it was brilliance, but you get that, that's why they're in the Premier League. They need to be stronger, they need to be mentally tougher, and physically as well. The way Basson got ragdolled out of the way by Benteke. I mean,
Which time?
is a perfect physical specimen, but Basson is not exactly 5'2" and 8 stone wet through, is he? He's a big unit as well, and you don't want to single one lad out because it was a collective capitulation in those 16 minutes of carnage. But it's so concerning, really, that it come what may over the next 10 games, whether they stay up or not. They're so far away from a team who you feel could stabilise and go on, as Southampton have, as I don't know, Everton, I suppose, them sort of clubs. But you just do not see under the current regime where the evolution's coming from. But obviously that's for the future. What's up the here and now is keeping their heads above water.
Yeah, which they're just about. I think the legs are going pretty quickly at the moment. Before we get into the other bits, let's have some Norwich City player reaction, shall we? Oh, that's right, there isn't any. Yeah, because there was a massive fire alarm afterwards. We don't know who set it off or why. The media set. We weren't special enough to actually be evacuated from the ground. We were evacuated. We were evacuated into the tunnel where we continued to do our work, and that brought both managers together before they'd really had a chance to speak to each other. The Villa chief executive was there on the phone. It was all incredibly awkward, but rather fascinating to watch. But the be-all and end-all was that the Norwich players were evacuated, or at least evacuated themselves straight onto the bus, and we never saw them, so we never got a word from them. I'm reliably informed we would have done had it not been for the fire alarm. So there you go. Norwich took the lead, and they were very good in the opening 20 minutes. Let's say that. Yeah. Lovely goal from the returned Wes Hoolahan. Great move from Gary Hooper, who might have been offside, I still think. No, Pete says no. Where are we on the debate, because we should talk about it, of Wes Hoolahan when he scored?
I think there's only one man who should lead that debate.
It's very split, isn't it? I still think that...
Are you?
Well, the way he was treated, it wasn't out of the blue, was it? There was a double fist pump, but that was about it, really.
So he did fist pump? Because I must admit, I saw it at the ground and thought, well, this is a bit weird, he isn't doing a lot. And then I haven't seen it since. I do want to... I didn't get to watch Match of the Day 2 last night, so I did want to see it again. I haven't had the chance. But you're saying there was a fist pump, and he was like, yeah.
Yeah, there's been comments that it was early in the game, so I don't care if it's the first minute or the last minute you celebrate a goal. I wonder...
and Snodgrass did at Cardiff, and that was fairly on.
Even him being at the opposite end from the away end should make much difference.
Well, again, the same at Cardiff.
Wes isn't a huge celebrator, is he? But
he brings out the forward roll sometimes.
Neither does Gary Hooper. I remember a couple at Carrow where he's just stood there, and it's Justin Fashion who goal of the season sticks his finger in the air. So, but I think that there is a bit more to it than there is a reason why he didn't celebrate, and it's the fact that he's been left out half the season and wants to leave.
And this is it. This is ultimately the issue with what happened in January, isn't it, Paddy? Everyone's kind of forgiven it, but no one forgot it.
No, but that is all true. But surely the proof is in the pudding, and it was the fact that he was for the first 25 minutes the best player on the park. Now, if that was a guy who was surly and wasn't going to put a shift in, you wouldn't have got any end product of that nature. There was another one, wasn't there, where linked to Hooper again, Guzan saved with his legs, and then the follow-up header. So he could have easily walked off the pitch in the first half. There were 2 goals. Now, he might not well have, started singing and dancing, but if he's scored you 2 goals and he's been the key influence, then that really is the only barometer I think you need to measure the guy's influence. And for me, it's a bit of a non-issue.
Concentrate more on the fact that he scored rather than celebrating it.
And I mean, he did tire significantly in the second half, but again, you can probably expect that.
First 20 minutes, he was bombing around everywhere.
And the way him and Gary Hooper were linking together, which is not for the first time either, is it, Paddy? I mean, out of every combination's been tried as an actual 2 up front.
Palace at home.
They're the 2 that work, aren't they?
I must admit, I would have thought Howson might have started instead of Hoolahan just for formation, but like you say, 20 minutes he disappeared, but then he wasn't the only one.
No.
Well, I'd argue that Wes disappeared a lot later than some other people disappeared. I think they'd gone a bit earlier than that. Mentioned Wes' second chance. I mean, the second half was an entire non-event, really. Johan Almanda came on and was playing out on the right wing.
Was he playing?
Well, he was on the pitch. He was definitely there, and he kept sort of walking around in that area.
Wasn't he the source of some anger amongst?
Well, I mean, we even got to the point where the Norwich fans were asking Paul Lambert for a wave.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So
Can't go to away games anymore.
it was quite fractious. It'd be fair to say.
Hooper's chance. I thought he could have maybe
Score.
taken it on a bit more. Yeah.
It was a bit weak, wasn't it? That side foot finish. Beat a keeper of Guzan's class. Needs to be better than that.
And that's the sort of thing he actually hit one of those perfectly in the warm up. Pinged it in off the post. But, so they're good in training. They can do it in training.
He needs a goal, doesn't he, badly, because you think back to West Ham as well, he could have had 2 or 3 that night, and if he could just get one, as he showed, he went on a little burst, didn't he, before, so it's the old confidence thing again. Just anything at all to drop to him that he can slot, that might just kick him on again. Again,
though, it's that they're so brittle. That it was the same with Hull. You hoped that would be a win that would sort of instill something in them, and I suppose with performances it had, but just cannot get those results, can they? So the other big talking point, unless anyone can remind me, although there may be a couple. One, Alex Tettey, quite a nasty challenge on Nathan Baker. Was he a little lucky to stay on the pitch, do you think, Pad? Or he was booked for it, I think.
Yeah, I think he was, it was a bit of a wild one, wasn't it? Intense, a separate issue in terms of whether I don't think he probably meant to do that, but I think I can't remember the timeline, but was it 2-1 down, 3-1 down? So he was in that maelstrom.
Yeah.
You saw Snodgrass as well, went through Bertrand. Frustration had balled over there, and I think 1 or 2 just sort of lost their heads a little bit during that period. So yes, in terms of, you've seen red cards for a lot less, haven't you?
And at least Norwich didn't get anyone sent off, which I still maintain was something of a positive to take from the event. Grant Hull came on. He didn't score, Pete. Everyone was convinced.
I know, he didn't really do
Bless him.
a great deal.
He
didn't need to.
Didn't really look at the races, I'll be honest, and the ball was bobbling off his shin and all sorts. But he got a great... Pardon?
Standard, isn't it?
Standard. He got a great reception from the Norwich fans, though, all the way through his warm-up, each time the name was mentioned. Right too. Yeah.
And Lambert as well. I don't know what his reception was like.
Well, it was me, apart from one chant for a wave in the second half, which I think many people could take as maybe a gesture towards who's the people maybe more on the Norwich City side of the fence at the moment, sadly. So we got one chance, and Grant Holt took the time to applaud the Norwich fans after he'd spoken to all his teammates. Fair enough.
Fairly complimentary on Twitter as well, wasn't he?
He was,
post-match.
I imagine he won't play us again, so...
Okay, well, who knows?
Well,
never say never, Pete. Never say never. I think I've touched on everything. Is there anything anyone think of anything I haven't mentioned?
Apart from the Villa goals,
well, I think Paul Lambert was very happy with their third. But
seen before, Agbonlahor counter-attack down here last season.
Completely outstripped Redmond at one point, didn't he? If you noticed that.
That man can shift. No two ways about it. But it's not as if you didn't know the threat. I can't remember a game where he hasn't been quite influential in the recent seasons. So they knew what the threat was, and that's the frustrating thing. And had started, it wasn't like they were on the back foot from the first minute of that game. They were in control of that game. One long diagonal ball, Benteke chest goal, and that's it. Back down the hatches.
Did you pick up on anything that, because we obviously know how much Paul Lambert loves to change and tinker and things? Did you pick up on anything he did to change it, or was it predominantly the goal and then that just sparked?
I think it was purely just one class finish, and then 2 minutes later, Benteke corner. I mean, that's not any major tactical light bulb moment, is it? It's just playing to the guy's strengths, and once it went 2-1, the crowd get up, and instead of getting on their backs, they're driving them forward, and Norwich just seeped out of them, didn't it, with that self-belief.
Because Villa didn't really do anything in the second half either, did they? No, I suppose the work had been done.
Chance for Agbonlahor, wasn't there? And about 5 minutes after the remarks rose between Bassong and Yobo, which was the theme of the day, and should have buried it, but headed it straight at Ruddy. But they were quite content, weren't they, just to go through the motions, as long as Norwich didn't, which we're never going to do really, we're going to threaten any potential comeback. They were quite happy with 4 on it.
We've just talked about this on Mustard TV, actually, on 3 Up Front Extra. I'm getting that plug in. Yeah, you just heard that. Villa, do you think they're probably safe now? I mean, we've been talking about how tight the bottom half of the table is, Pete, but there's actually a few gaps now, aren't there? And that's, I think, 31 points that Villa are on now.
It's strange, isn't it, that before the game everyone was talking about Villa and Swansea being safe and their long odds when they're just on the same points as Norwich. I know the last 4 games are factored into that, but you would expect Villa to still be in the Premier League next season.
I suppose the interesting thing is that Cardiff and Fulham have that gap.
Gone.
Well, I remember saying that about Sunderland and Palace at the start of the
Oh,
season,
right.
and then all of a sudden they weren't gone.
We'll win at Fulham this season, told you.
Well, I thought they were going to win at Villa, and that didn't happen. So
Good so.
me and Paddy both predicted wins at the weekend, so that's the last time I'll maybe give them that faith. Until this weekend, of course, when Stoke come to town.
It's those 3 home games, isn't it? Stoke, Sunderland and West Brom. But you've got to look to pick up maximum points.
Well, as I was saying to Paddy, because it's a long car journey, Norwich are currently level on the points they had from comparable fixtures last year. Comparable fixtures. All they need to do, that means, to finish on 44 points is win at Swansea.
44, right, Ewan.
Yeah.
Win at Swansea, beat Stoke and Sunderland and West Brom at home, and Arsenal at home as well.
Right.
And get a draw somewhere.
Man U.
Yeah. That would be
Fulham.
nice.
Is Fulham in that?
Yeah, well, they lost at Fulham last year, so
there's your draw.
you'd take a draw.
Win.
You can't.
Wait, what are you saying? They'll finish on 47 points? Is that what you're saying, Pete?
Yeah.
No.
No, he's not. He's not saying that. All right. Well, Stoke. We won't do a preview podcast because there's no point in promising something we won't deliver. We're looking forward to that. Stoke. No.
I imagine Howson will start.
Yeah.
Instead of.
Who knows?
Okay.
I don't know how long Ricky's out for. Is it just a whack?
Sounded like a minor one, didn't it, Pad?
Yeah, they seem to indicate that he was pretty close for Villa. So if he was pretty close for Villa and he trains this week, he should be in contention.
Be interested to see what he does at the back as well. If Captain gets
Ryan
dropped.
Bennett's back, isn't he now?
Well, he did. I mean, he grasped the nettle, didn't he? Post Man City when he pulled Bassong out of the firing line. So I'll be frankly amazed if Bassong and Yobo start against Stoke. I'll be very, and also Yobo factor in. He's got this transatlantic trip to America, play for Nigeria against Mexico. So Ryan Bennett was in decent nick, wasn't he, before the injury? So
Olsen, we know, is now carrying a shoulder injury.
yeah, pulled out of Sweden's midweek trip to Turkey. Looks like it's going to be surgery in the summer. So clearly that would indicate he's having to manage an injury. But I mean, there was actually thinking about it. He did require treatment.
He did,
didn't he?
yeah, he did, yeah.
So maybe that was connected to that. But he did finish the game, so a week's R&R, he should be okay. But
Snodgrass too.
it's a
I
worry.
think he's pulled out, but
Yeah.
the wrist.
Damaged his wrist.
We don't need that to play football. Should be fine. And Leroy obviously will be out for.
Time to be
Well,
decided.
yeah, we shall see. So win is all that will do for Stoke.
Well,
It's got to be.
Pete says got to be. Paddy sounding different.
well.
Or are you just tired?
No, a bit of both, yeah. No, I think they do need to win, but whether they will do, I just have a feeling Stoke might do what Stoke do and maybe grind out a draw. I frankly would be surprised if they could win all those 3. I know they should be looking to do it, and they will clearly, but it's a tall order, isn't it, to beat all 3 of those at home. Not tall in the sense that their teams they should be able to comfortably see off, but to go to the well all the time, I just think one of those 3 might have to be a draw. But then if they won the other 2, Pete's already got us down for a win at Fulham, so job's a
Happy
good.
days.
We're going to have to. I think they are going to have to pull out a performance away from home at some point.
Swansea.
I don't think they can do it. What, the place they've won
Southampton.
twice the last 2 years?
Southampton got a point
maybe.
there, didn't
That was the draw. Well done, Paddy. Yeah, that was the draw last season.
I think that's the last time he scored a goal equalised, wasn't it?
Yeah, yes, it was. Yeah, good to get excellent work there. I remember that one. Just a quick last one. The managerial situation. Obviously, Chris Hughton is under pressure again because that's what tends to happen each time Norwich play. Certainly, each time they lose. Is it too late to change the manager now? I've had this conversation with a few people. Is it just an irrelevant now? It's too late.
Who do you replace him with?
So do you think it's too late? Like, this is it now, just get on with it? If it happens, then it's the fault of not making a decision sooner?
I think it's too late.
they? Yeah, I think so. With 10 left, I mean, even if you recruited from Britain, they're still going to need that period of acclimatisation. And obviously if they went abroad, then you inject that sort of uncertain element that's playing out at West Brom and Fulham as well now. So you just go back to what the chief exec said recently, if they're not 100% convinced at that point, when they had a lot more period of time to make the change, then I don't think they're going to do it now.
No. I think the one thing that the result on Sunday does do is mean there are going to be some serious discussions in the summer, whatever happens. But I think for this season, the bed has been made. Lie in it. I'm wrapping this up now. Stoke on Saturday, live coverage, pinken.com/live. Keep an eye out for that. Are we doing a Q&A midweek?
Yeah, why not?
Have we decided? What day did we say? Did we say Tuesday?
Let's do Tuesday.
Tuesday. So, all being well, depending when you listen to this, Tuesday, 1 o'clock, pinken.com/debate. Join in with that. And of course, 3 Up Front on mustardtv.co.uk. That will be on Thursday evening. I can't remember who's on it, but there'll be some people.
I'm on it, Michael.
Are you on it?